Hello, everyone. Welcome to Three Questions With. I'm Derek Collins. I'm the Community Engagement Director for Concerned Veterans for America here in Northeast Florida. And with me today, I'm very happy to have the South Strategic Director for the Grassroots Leadership Academy, one of our really important network partners, Carlos Reyes. Good morning, Carlos.
Morning, Derek.
I appreciate you being on, and I'm really excited about what you got to share with us, and just kind of if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit of your background, what you do for the Grassroots Leadership Academy, and what the Grassroots Leadership Academy does.
Yeah, happy to. First and foremost, I have three children, all under the age of 5. So you can imagine my life is incredibly busy. I've got a wonderful wife. I've been married for 9 years. It has been a joy to be in both of those worlds for a while. A couple of years ago, got involved in grassroots movements, and I didn't realize how much I would enjoy that process and the transformation that I would go being challenged, being a part of this community. And so I started off as a trainer at the Grassroots Leadership Academy, and our focus was to educate and empower activists alongside our partner organization, Americans for Prosperity. And so back in those days, you and I would work together to put together programming to help empower people to take hold of their liberty and then to advance it. And one of the things I love to say about our organization is that we believe in people. And so we make investments in people. We share a vision for what the future can look like and then try to equip them along the way. And so I did that as a trainer in the very beginning, and then got the opportunity to become a senior trainer and add more skills and engage in the process of transformation and growth, and eventually a deputy, and then today a strategic director, which gives me the privilege to work with a bunch of states in the Southeast, working with states to help advance that vision.
Yeah, how many states are you responsible for working with in the region?
6 states.
6. So you're beyond Florida.
Yes. Yeah, we've got teams all across the Southeast, Georgia, South Carolina, Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas. And it's great because you get such an amazing view of the amazing things that people are doing within our community.
Yeah, and I understand that Florida is probably still your favorite one out of all the states.
Home is Florida, so
this is only going to be seen in Florida. So you get feel free to talk about that. Just kind of before we get to the next segment, just a lot of people have this misconception that their voice doesn't matter anymore in politics. That it's all about money and influence. So I know that's was the big key for me is that's how I started out, as being introduced into a GLA grassroots leadership class. So what about that? So we're going to get to the questions here in a second, but I just wanted to talk about why what is it about that folks when they feel they don't have that voice, but you guys show them they really do.
Yeah, it's we call it in our organization the virtuous cycle, and this is the beauty of, and it's funny, right? I mean, Derek, you've got kids, I've got kids, and I think about this all the time, but you see it every single day when you teach your child something new. They internalize it. You almost see the wheels behind their eyes. They apply whatever it is, that thing that they've learned. They enjoy that success, and they get a taste of wanting to do something similar again. And so, I didn't have that context when I first joined the team because I just had my first child at the time. But I saw that all the time, is that people needed somebody to initiate, to help them build that courage to take that next step. And I know we'll talk about that in the next segment here, but to go alongside, to encourage someone and say, this is possible. I'm just you several months before.
Yeah.
And that's it, right? I mean, we sometimes see people operating in this environment and we think there's no way we could do what they do. And that just, in my experience, that's just not the truth. With enough commitment, time, effort, energy, we can all do it.
Yeah, it's funny. I like that. I'm just you separated by a few months, because I remember, I don't know if you've seen his Arthur Brooks's The Pursuit, where he talks about the difference between us and India, and basically says, they're us, just separated by time. You know, that's what we're all on that scale here. So I think that's, that's awesome. So, hey, so, of course, the name of this is 3 Questions With. So we have 3 questions. I want to ask you to kind of drill down into this. So are you ready to answer some questions today?
Let's do it.
All right. So the first one. So what is the biggest barrier to success for someone just starting out when they're trying to make a difference?
Yeah, I was thinking about more so internal barriers. So in our organization, we talk about internal barriers, the things that prevent us. And the biggest internal barrier that I've experienced over these last 5 or so years in this space has really been fear. Mm-hmm. Fear probably tied to a lack of knowledge or this idea of uncertainty. And I remember as a kid, my father's been very politically engaged for a long time, and it all looks very scary. I mean, today you and I have conversations about the proper role of government. We talk about key institutions. We talk about how we can be change agents. But a couple of years ago, right, I just like everyone else, I didn't know how to navigate it. I didn't understand any of the landscape. And so it really takes a leap of courage. And I love to talk about courage because courage is something we can all relate to. We've all been in moments, whether or not you are starting off in your first job, or you're having your first child, or you're dealing with challenges around the globe, like the pandemic. There's been a lot of people that have had to deal with a certain level of courage. And we tend to think it's on this big macro scale, right? Mm-hmm. But no, sometimes it takes courage to go do the little things, to deliver the difficult news. And so when I think about the number one barrier that I think prevents people from getting involved in this space, I think there's a lot of fear tied up. And part of my encouragement today is I want people to take the little steps of courage to get involved, because in some instances, it's not a few months we're ahead. It's a few days. And the only reason is because we decided to take a step a day earlier than other people did. So if I had to lean into one question, that would be my answer.
Yeah, I think that's great, because I just know, from my background, I know that we've become a very risk averse society. I used to get paid a lot of money to help corporations manage their risk. So I think we've internalized that to where we're just afraid to take that one little step on the road, because we're afraid that it may fail, and I realize that's part of the process as well. So
and what's great, what's relatable too, right, is I know that exact fear. You know that exact fear. It usually took a mentor or somebody to come alongside for us to say, you know what, I'm going to dip my toe in the water. Hey, it's not so cold. Let me stick, or the analogy of getting into a pool. And then today, I think when you and I see a big problem or a big challenge or something operating outside of its key role in society, we're trying to build up speed now, right, to take a dive into the pool. And it shows you over time how you can build that courage and then instill that in others.
So let's talk about those. So let me ask you this: what is the most rewarding thing about personal engagement with a grassroots movement?
For me, it's seeing people take in information and then apply it, and then enjoy that satisfaction. Right? I mean, we call it, again, going back to the virtuous cycle. It is something that early on as a trainer, as I was in front of groups and talking about big issues, topics, whether it was education reform, whether it was criminal justice reform, there were sometimes people in that room that intellectually knew more than me on the issue, but didn't know what to do about it. And it was incredibly satisfying for me to say, hey, I know you know more. That's not where I can help or I can add value to you. But here's a couple things you should consider doing to change the narrative. Here's what you can do to be a better storyteller. And those simple pieces, and I'm the season that I've been in, and incredibly blessed to be able to work from home. It's a huge blessing. Our team travels a ton. We haven't been traveling naturally because of the coronavirus. And so we've been home a lot. And so I've been in the process of puzzling. I don't know if you're a puzzler, but I've been puzzling a lot. And there really is, I've noticed, right, you can set the board. You can be looking around the board. You set your borders. You're putting pieces in. And there are just days where you're looking for a piece and you cannot find it.
Yeah.
And I come back 3 days later. I've worked in other areas of the puzzle, and boom, I sit down and immediately I see that piece and I plug it in, and I see the 3 or 4 pieces around it. And that's kind of how I think about that process when I think, man, that person's just missing a purposeful way to tell their story,
Yeah.
a purposeful narrative here, or, hey, this key piece of information might make you more persuasive in this endeavor. And so watching we use the language, right, the light bulb turn on is incredibly satisfying, because then it fires me up to equip my team to do that. It fires me up to share information with you guys, working with our sister organization, now all one organization.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man, I derive a ton of joy and satisfaction of that part of being a part of the grassroots movement.
Yeah, and I can completely relate to that, because I felt when I first came into this that my knowledge, I didn't have anything I could contribute, and then when sitting down with you guys in a Grassroots Leadership Academy class, began to realize that I had all these pieces. I called it, I already had the tools that you guys were talking. You would say something, hey, this is what you know. I was like, oh, I know how to do that. I just didn't know I could do it for this, to make an impact here. Yeah. So, it was about, identifying the tools, and then knowing I could use them for this, and also building the toolbox for them to, to go into, and I think that's when a lot of people, they enter into this, they think, well, I don't know anything about politics. I don't know anything about, movements, and I don't have the knowledge. And then they realize that it's their own. They just need somebody to show them how to apply it better. And that's what was amazing. So that kind of just brings me to our last question, because there's going to be folks that are watching this. A lot of folks watch this, or folks I know, and they're already working with me. But with the wonders of the internet, this is going to spread out further, and some people are going to be encountering this for the first time. So say somebody's encountering this for the first time, they go, yeah, I want to do this. So what, you guys offer, a broad range of classes. So what would be the best starting point for someone that's right now listening to this that's new to the idea of grassroots leadership? What would be the best starting point to say, hey, Derek, listen, hey, I saw your video and I want to get involved. Where's the jumping in point on, what's the first one I should do?
Yeah, great question. I would encourage everyone, of course, to reach out to you first, because you've got a ton of resources. You and I talk, or we should be talking more regularly.
Yeah.
I know you talk to lots of members on our team, but that's a great place to start. Going to the grassrootsleadershipacademy.org is another place to start. There's media on there, and we're actually in the process of building an LMS, a learning management system, to be able to do on-demand training. So we'll have a live component. In fact, we've got a level 1 certification coming up in the next coming weeks. People should reach out to you if they want to be a part of that. That'd be great. We'd love to have them. It'll be our first experiment in doing a national online level 1. And level 1, the outcome really is to introduce you to grassroots organizing. So one of the great myths out there is that we convince ourselves that someone else better is doing that work. And the truth is that it is not someone better. And in the rare instances, hopefully you know that person, you understand the principles that drive them. There's a high level of trust and confidence that you have in them. Otherwise, you're the best person to fight for your liberty.
Yeah.
You're the best person to do that. And so, of course, the website, go to you if people are interested. But we also come to that question that you and I have talked about many times, like, what is the outcome you're trying to achieve?
Yeah.
And so we think about our material, we think about our curriculum in that vein. If you're trying to accomplish the basics of activism, then let's talk about a level 1 class where we talk about being intentional about storytelling, about talking about the proper role in government, and casting a vision for what the world can look like, in which, the long arm of government we aren't constantly clawing back, but we're also impacting the culture.
Yeah.
Those are a couple different places you can look. I think the first and best place is, of course, to start with you, but of course, have them look at the website. We've also got a social media presence where we're always pushing out information with different material on there as well.
And I know you guys are doing an excellent podcast series that's bringing the information out there. And we put a lot of information out there. I had a conversation with one of my community leaders one time where I was talking about, getting them more education on how to do it, because they're out there trying to, get the things their group needs done. And that was just one of these things where I said, listen, hey, on the areas where we line up, where CVA's, priorities are, it lines up with yours, and, let us take the lead on that. But I can show you how to advocate for the other things. And they're like, well, why would I wanted you to do that? And I was like, well, but the thing is, I can't advocate for everything, but teaching you how to be a better advocate, not only helps, our causes, but they help your causes as well. And I think that's one of the great things about this is we don't hoard knowledge. We want to share this with folks. Yep. And, we don't ever want to become the thing where they meet somebody that they think we can have impact and influence. And they go, oh man, if I could just get Carlos or Derek to talk to them, that will change it. It's like, well, but you're the best messenger that you can make that change. Just let us teach you how to do it. And we love, that's one of my favorite things to do is to try to put together, bring in the GLA instructors in, to show people how to do this, for themselves. And I just appreciate all you guys do. So, so we're going to wrap this up. Do you have any last thoughts or anything you'd like to share with anybody? Or
yeah, I mean, I want to go back to that concept of courage. If anybody wants a great book, I mean, it's always a funny thing when a GLA trainer is giving out a book recommendation because we always have a book recommendation. But one of the books that I love and has impacted me greatly is Brene Brown's book, Dare to Lead. And in that book, she talks pretty regularly about the concept of courage. And it's one thing to intellectually know these things. It's another to apply them, right? You had mentioned that earlier. There's a lot of things that we learn and we tend to keep them to ourselves, but the application of those relative to what we're dealing with day to day is another step that we need to take. And so many of us are sitting, and I remember this growing up, and we were watching on television, oh, this is what's wrong with the world. These are the challenges. This is what we need to work on. And then we turn off the TV, we went to bed, and we went about our business. And so I want to encourage everyone to take that step of courage. That first step, best step they can do is reach out to you and just say, hey, I want to take that step. I don't know where I'm going to land, but I'm going to lend you my trust to start, that you'll guide me well. And so that's kind of my encouragement. I often think about, she quotes the Roosevelt line, right? It is the critic. It's not the critic in the arena that matters, right? It's the person in the arena. And so dive in. I want to hope your audience, I want to ask your audience to dive in with 2 feet and go from there. Take that courage.
All right. Well, Carlos, thank you for being here. I know you got to get back to those kids, and plus you got a lot of other work to do today.
Thanks, Derek.
I just want to thank everybody for watching this. Please, if you have any questions, just put them in the comments below or direct message them over to us. And thank you for being here today.